You win some, you lose some. This is another 8-track tape that apparently had some personal recordings on it, and when I got it all fixed up, it turned out to be it was blank. So here I have another broken 8-track tape. This one here is jammed. If I try to play this one, this is what happens. It's not moving at all because the tape itself is bound up inside. This one, unfortunately, has some of his own recordings on there, so this is one of the ones that we want to try and get the material off of this tape without damaging the cassette anymore, cartridge any more than it already is. So we're going to try and remove the cover on this one. This one just has a couple little lock tabs that you can push in, and the cover will pop off. Or is it the top? Maybe the top here. There we go. So somewhere on this loop of tape it is bound. And we're going to try and unbind it if we can. And it actually seems to be turning relatively smoothly, but it certainly did not want to go through the machine. It didn't want to play. You can see that the tape edge is kind of chewed up, so that might be where the problem was right there on the edge. See if we can pull a little bit of slack off here. Looks like the tape hasn't packed properly is what's happened, and it's over tightened itself. One of the problems with all these cartridge-based systems was that, well, just the very nature of how they operate, they tend to tighten themselves up, and they will get, if there's anything damaged to the tape itself, like any wrinkles and stuff, that can bind and can actually over tighten the tape on the loop, which is problematic. These were not a perfect system. They were probably one of the worst systems ever developed, because even though there's the simplicity of the entire loop tape analogy, there's so many things that can go wrong. Like these tapes all required a graphite lubrication. That's why the back of them is just like a silver gray color. That's because the tape itself had graphite, and that was there to help lubricate the tape as it went through its loop. But it doesn't take much for them to bind, and in this case I'm going to probably have to run this tape through manually if I can, and try to at least get it to where, find out where it was jammed. I can do that by turning it here in the middle, turning the hub, and I'm going to try and get the tape to go all the way through and see whether I can free it up. All I need to do is get one pass off this so that I can record what's on it, but this is going to be a challenge because the tape itself is tightening itself up as I try to turn it. Unfortunately, what causes some of these problems with these 8-track tapes, it could have been chewed up, or it could have been a splice that started to go bad, or it could have been someone tried to splice it. But there's a number of things that can cause it. You can see where the problem is in here. It's down several layers of tape as it's been attempting to play, because as it plays, the tape itself, because of how it's pulled out from the center of the hub, there's always going to be some slippage between the layers of tape slightly as the tape works its way down. So if a splice isn't done correctly, or if some of the adhesive from the splice is leaching through and sticks to an adjacent tape layer, it can cause the tape to bind up. So I'm winding the damaged tape loosely back on and getting all the kinks out. Once I've got all the kinks out, I can pull it through and find where the splice is and check the splice out and redo that. I'm just getting all the kinks out, get this back down to a nice straight loop, and then we'll pull it through and find where the splice is and redo the splice, because a lot of these old ones, the splices are ready to fail, and it's going to come apart at some point. I just need to get basically 2 passes off of this tape, because the material that's on it is going to be transferred to digital. So I really only need this to go through the machine twice without jamming up. Okay, after looping it back on to get all the kinks out of it, I've got it now turning relatively freely, and it'll take up faster than it's coming off the spool, and this will hopefully get this tape back up and running again. So we'll remove the old, worn out pressure pad and put a new one in. Put the tape in behind here where it belongs. So now as the tape plays, a good pressure, good contact up against the head, and I should be able to get my pass out of here. I'll just wind this tape. I'm going to wind it all the way forward until I get to the metallic splice, and we'll take a look at that, see what the shape it's in, probably replace it, but I'm going to have to just wind it through here by hand until I get to where the splice is. Spend a little more time getting this tape back in a playable condition. Gonna find the splice and replace it. Alright, tape's all back together. Put a new splice on it and all. Let's see if it was worth the effort. Let's see if there's anything on this tape. Should be. It's his own recording, so I don't hear anything. This is the beginning too. This is right where the splice is. There's track 1. Oh, something there. You gotta be kidding. That was the bit I trimmed off where the splice let go there. So I cut back about 2 inches of tape. The hell? There's nothing on this tape. This tape is completely blank. Unbelievable. All that work for nothing. Oh well. That's how you re-spool one of these tapes when they're messed up. Thanks for watching.